Alright, hey guys, what's going on? This is Orenda. I'm about to try to make a Riddim track in 1 hour. So why am I doing this? Because I shit talk Riddim a lot. And the reasons that I do that are a few. One, the nuance in the drum tracks is completely lacking. It's very few times that I've heard a Riddim track where the drums are just really intricate and catch my ear. Second, there's absolutely no music theory involved in making Riddim. You just play F, and then you make some weird FM synth, and it's really just that simple. Most of the melodies are not particularly engaging. There's not really much going on there in most Riddim tracks. And third, the sound design is so wonky and weird that it's almost hard to make a sound that's really bad in a Riddim track, because you can almost just make any sort of weird squeaky noise you want and it'll sound fine. And then there's no rhythmic intricacy in the synth either. You just make eighth notes and they're not even really on beat. They're just like oddly syncopated, which would be cool if it were jazz or lo-fi, but there's no real rhyme or reason to why they're syncopated typically. Alright, so that's my mini speech, and now I'm going to try to prove the point here. So I've got this timer going on in the bottom left. Just want to make sure we're recording and everything. So we should be good to go here. This is my default project file. As you can see, I've saved it, but nothing's going on here. Yeah, alright, let's do this. Alright, 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to come over to this section. I'm going to go to my lead channel, get a serum here. I'm going to make a 2-bar MIDI clip here, and we're just going to play an F. We're going to keep the tempo at 145. Ah, yeah, that's fucking beautiful, amazing. So, alright, so let's take this. Now the first thing we need to do is we're going to set a half note LFO, and we're going to make this shape, and we're going to route it. Oh, wrong way. Alright, so we're going to do that. That's your basic Riddim shape. Here what we're going to do, we're going to try to keep it kind of simple. So we'll make like a sine shape there. We'll turn off oscillator B, and then we'll just set up a basic FM routing. So we're already halfway there on this. Now one of the things I like to do is maybe have this one, and this will kind of go. Now if we start getting weird intervals, we're already like halfway there on the synth. So then all we're going to do is set up, I like no window sync. I think it typically sounds pretty good as far as these. Let's get some stereo width going on here. We should. Alright, now we're getting wonky. Alright, now let's go to multi. Let's set up like a high notch thing. These things are pretty standard. Let's get this frequency going backward. Alright, so that's Riddim-y. What's this next thing we're going to do? We're going to make one LFO that's a little bit different, just for the sake of variety here. Alright, so this sounds pretty thin right now, but we'll fix that here in a minute. Alright, so let's just set up one of those on it. Come over here, we can throw some more effects just for weirdness. And so let's go here, link this. This is a pretty common technique. If you want to get a really nice sort of metal sound out of one of your synths, you set a really low delay timer linked with the feedback pretty low, or with the feedback pretty high and the time pretty low. So we're just gonna maybe throw a little bit of modulation on this feedback and see if we can get a little bit of weirdness coming out of that. Let's see. Make this shape a little different so we have a little bit more movement. Now another thing you can do is modulate this timer here. Alright, that's pretty rhythmy. Now, I'm not sure if a multiband here is going to make things better. Oh yeah, that's rhythm as fuck. Alright, so there's stupid synth 1. Alright, so that took less than 5 minutes. Alright, let's put some kicks and snares in here. Let's see. Alright, so let's go to our main kick, our splice samples, packs. Let's get this Virtual Riot going because Virtual Riot is kind of the rhythm guy. Alright, I've found myself gravitating towards 15 and 16 for a lot of my songs that aren't rhythm, so ooh, that's like a classic rhythm kick right there. So we'll drag that into here, set it to 1 shot, raise this up. Then the other thing we're gonna do, this is how I set up my sidechain. I put an external instrument on here, and then I send the MIDI to the sidechain bus where I route everything through. I alternate between using a compressor and just an LFO depending on how severe I want the sidechain to be, but this is rhythm, so we're going to have some pretty intense sidechain going on right here. So we'll just draw in a little LFO. We'll see if this is good or if I'm going to have to mess with it more. I'm hoping it'll be pretty good because we don't have too much time. Rhythm is going to have a kick on 1 and 3 and the snare on 3. I typically mix with my kicks at -6. Now let's see what's going on. I'm going to send it to the side. Now for the side chain here, we only want this. We want it no trigger and read. Alright, so there's that. I think we actually want this first LFO to. Alright, so we can set that up, and then for our snare, we're just gonna come down here because it's. Alright, so let's do a little bit of a layer here. So we'll get this one weird thing. I'm gonna try not to process these too much. No, this is rhythm. So we're gonna go ahead and put in our snare here. I don't know when. Alright, so oh, that's a classic rhythm snare. So alright, so that's, but the thing is we are running the kick on 1 and 3, so we're going to have to take out the low end here, or we're going to clip the fuck out of this thing. Now the other thing we're going to want to do is drag a glue compressor onto here. That way our subs. Alright, so that's our kick snare. I think that's pretty passable. So let's go into here and, oh wait, I typically put these in here. So let's go to our hats. We'll just go and make the drum rack here. I'm trying not to think about this too much. Right, that's one. That's fine. So this will sound good when we throw some reverb on it. Alright, that's good. Now just to save a little bit of time, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to audio effects. We're just going to send all of these things through a reverb. We want this to kind of be sitting up here, right where our hi-hat fundamentals are going to be. We don't really need any of those lows. We're going to do this. We want a pretty long decay time because since this is Riddim, we're not going to have too many elements. Which, yes, I know is another dig at Riddim, but isn't that why I did this video in the first place? So, alright, so we're going to have this. So, we'll do one of these, and then we'll duplicate that, and then just for variety. We'll put one of the, just one of the. Oh, and then the last thing we want to do is we want this to go master, because right now we've got it side chaining. And then, so the second one, this hat here that's on the one shot, turn that up, and then I want to raise the pitch a little bit. There we go. Alright, so that's kind of weird. Alright, now that I'm hearing this, the snare sounds really fucking dry. So we're gonna do something. So there's a preset here that I made a while back that I wound up throwing on top of a lot of stuff. So I tend to have these sort of like high-end impacts that are very useful that I just throw in here. I can put a reverb just on this guy and kind of come in here, kind of get rid of some of this crap. Then if I turn the now that's kind of going forever, so what we're going to do is we're going to gate it. Just going to come in here. Let's make the return a little bit longer. Alright, so these are actually kind of quiet, so we're going to saturate them a little bit. Alright, that's probably enough processing on those. Now, what we're going to do here is we're just going to duplicate this real quick. Then we're just going to make this our sub preset. It's kind of doing the same thing, but just a little bit of weirdness on there will keep it interesting. And we're going to see how this... Alright, so we're just going to have this... Wrong serial instance. So we've got this, there's a little bit of this graininess induced by this chorus effect and this compressor on the chorus, which is making that kind of loud, which is okay because this is just gonna... We're gonna bring out some of these really rich harmonics down here. Alright, let's put a mini saturator on this. Alright, what's our time like? Alright, we've got fucking 15 minutes in and this is already half a drop. So, first thing we're gonna do is duplicate this 4 times and then we'll start messing with stuff. So, first of all, we're going to have some sort of stupid goony pre-drop going on before this, and then we're just going to have your standard issue 2-bar Riddim fake out, because I'm legally required to do that if this is a Riddim song. So, I don't know why this one's there. Just going to cut that off here. So, this is just going to... So, get rid of these hats. So, the way these work is you go womp, 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 womp. No, wait, one other. These things, I want these to be set to trigger. Alright, so that's good on our weirdness. Alright, so now we've got our weird thing before the drop. I'm trying to think of what weird vocal sample I want to use, but I don't really care about that at this point. So we're going to turn the bass down here, and then we're going to do like a little mini fade in at the end. Alright, so we've got this womp 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 womp. So we're going to do oh bum bum bum. Now, if you'll notice here, I don't give a shit about the notes because it doesn't actually matter, which is another reason I hate this genre. I'm just doing some sort of weird phrygian. Now we're just going to take this, we're going to duplicate it in the bass, I guess. I think that's just going to sound better chilling on that F than... I'm going to boost it. So then the other thing, because this is going to sound really plain on its own, we're going to need some sort of little screech synth going on here, so like a kind of thing. I don't know how to make the noise with my mouth, but we're just going to get a serum instance here. Then we're going to come up to like I said, the only note we need is F. And we're just going to duplicate that. I'm going to try something. We're going to run a sync with no window. We're going to run an FM on this guy. Yeah, that's the shit. So we're going to make this triplets. That noise. Alright, so let's go to a comb here. Make it all resonant and shit. Alright, so we got that noise. We need to make it bite a little bit. Alright, so we're just going to take this instance, we're going to duplicate it here, then we're going to delete that, and that, and that, and then we're just going to kind of juggle these back and forth as far as like getting the sound to be a little bit more interesting. So this is another pretty common thing, so I can just tweak the waveform here and so we can get one of these. So now we've got a little bit of a different sound here. I Can Has Kick is a great wavetable. Alright, now we're... So we're just going to make it go boom, 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 womp. So we're going to add in some more weird synths going on here. How's our time? Oh my god, we have so much fucking time. Jesus. So we're going to make an F sharp. We'll make this Phrygian for what it's worth. So we want this to be kind of a lower pitch. So start it. Here we're going to have this be kind of a lower synth as far as like a lower growl. We're still going to run FM. But then we're going to make it do kind of a dive effect. So we're going to run this FM actually backward. Then we're going to set this to our coarse pitch. Alright. Now we're just going to pick a random filter here. Actually, no. For this synth, we're just going to use the same thing for everything. Alright, so we're doing an FM kind of dive thing here, so let's get... Alright, that's kind of boring. Okay, so the next thing we can do on this, because it doesn't really have that much high end, so we can do a little downsample thing here. And then we can, of course, EQ this. Alright, so now that we've got our little downsample run thing here, we'll just go and kind of ignore that in the bass, and then this should be at an F sharp here for what I want it to do. Alright, so one other thing that I like doing on basses is making them legato, so I can do these sort of pitch riser things within MIDI. This is kind of a go-to for me as far as like making this sort of like dive sound, or making a so like, so you hear how the bass is going down and then back up again because I've got it doing it in MIDI. I think this gives you a little bit more control than trying to do it with a macro or something, just because I like being able to see what note I'm diving to and what note I'm coming back up to. Now for these things, it's not that important because again, it's fucking Riddim. No one cares. But now we're going to come in and make this screechy thing that I wanted to do. So I could use a preset for this, not anyone else's preset, my preset, but we're just going to do it this way. You get 2 of these sine waves, you run FM on this one, then we're going to make it do a F sharp. So we've already got that. So we're gonna have it do a little bit of a rise here on the level, but then we're also gonna take this and we're gonna map it. So we've got that thing going on here. If I change the semitone here, it'll introduce this real nasty dissonant sound. And it's Riddim, so now we've got another nasty thing, which is a flange. We could do that, but we could also make it do sort of a talk thing. So we're going to remove this one. And now we turn this up a little bit. Now again, we're just going to add a pretty basic effects chain here. I don't like using hyper that much, but on the clock it's a nice way to add a stereo field here. Alright, now we've got our zap thing. Now we'll change the pitch of this, maybe there. Alright, so this is not as metallic as everything else, and I mentioned one way to get kind of a nice metal-y sound. Well, first of all, we can put some reverb on that, because that'll give it a little bit of a metal tone. But one of the best ways to do it, this is something I used a little bit earlier, is this. If I turn this feedback up, now we've got sort of some weirdness going on here, but another thing I can do is I can come in post and put the ubiquitous reverb filter on it. I kind of want to do the talk thing with this reverb filter here too. Alright, now that's kind of... Alright, so... So for our kick and our snare, again, these things are starting to get overpowered by some of these other elements, so we're going to do a little bit of... So we've got all our things here being routed through our sidechain bus here. So we're going to turn this down a little bit. And normally I would do this with a separate lead bus, but again, here we're kind of on the clock. So alright, so alright. Alright, so for the second half of the drop, we're going to do the same idea. We're going to duplicate this synth here, and then get rid of these guys. And for this synth, we're going to come in here, and we're going to drop this back to a half. And we're going to make another wonky sort of LFO shape. I'm thinking about that 1 and 2 kind of thing. Maybe a 1 and a 2 and kind of thing if you're into the whole counting. Alright, the other thing we can do here is take a macro, just because I'm so, ooh, I kind of like that. It's just so we've got that kind of thing, but the only thing I'm thinking is that the synth isn't. So my thought is that this first impact thing isn't heavy enough for this sort of second synth that's real squeaky. So we're going to take this pattern, we're going to duplicate it, and we're going to come up with something that's a bit more aggressive here. So we're going to go into this. I'm thinking just a pretty So let's get this. Let's replace this notching filter with something nasty like a reverb. So reverb filters really don't typically. Let's go ahead and take. That's pretty. So we're just going to take this really harsh noise. Actually, you know what? We can go in here, now that we've got this harsh thing, we can take a filter on it, and we can put a little tonality back into it by putting Alright, that's sufficiently weird if we put that in there. Now what we're going to do, just because I feel like this thing is not hitting that hard, we're just going to go to a digital clip and we're just going to clip it. So I'm thinking we kind of want to go back to this first synth here. Alright, so we're running out of time here pretty quickly. So this noise, we're going to run that same clipper on it, so just to bring it up to the volume of the rest of the track. Same thing here. We're going to go to a saturator, throw it on the same thing. Alright, that's a cool second half of the drop. So we're going to take that and we're going to shift it over here. And now for this part. So what we're doing here is intentionally clipping the fuck out of this. Oh wait, what am I looking at? So, why doing all this, you ask? So, if I take a glue compressor, throw it on here, and so this is all very loud now. so we're going to leave the synths alone for now. I'm not entirely happy with that first synth, but that's okay. We're going to do a little melodic fill in here. So we're just going to take this and go. So we're going to take out these, and we're going to go like a bump, 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 bump sort of thing. So we'll go to aux stabs, MIDI channel here, go to my synths and stabs, then we've got this F sharp sample here, so we want to transpose it up or down 6 semitones. It doesn't really matter. F sharp is 6 scale degrees away from C, which is our default root note. Now this shows that whatever MIDI I put in here, Alright, so alright, what are we good on time? Alright, so now what we're going to do with the rest of our time in here is go in and add in our cymbals and whatever effects we have time to do. By default, I have a Contact drum kit loaded in here as a preset. Comes in very handy a lot of the time. Alright, so let's go into here. Let's go to this. I have another massive preset that's just a white noise with a macro. And what this does is it very quickly lets me automate my volume on these things. So I can put this note in here, just drag it in here, and then if I take this macro I can just vary. So we're going to make this a little bit more aggressive here on this come up. We're going to copy that, we're going to put it at the end, and then we're going to make another MIDI clip here that does a similar thing. It's noise, so the note actually doesn't matter. Massive doesn't handle the noise oscillator the same way. So we'll take that, mess up on where that's. Alright, so that's half decent on that. Alright, so then the other thing we're going to do is we're just going to get some basic chants in here. So go to my packs. I made this a while ago. Alright, so we're just going to make an audio track for this, and we're just going to put all our stupid chants in here. So we're just going to drag and drop this. Alright, so we're going to do another audio track, and we're just going to put some A's here. We'll put them on the offbeats, pretty standard stuff. Take this, duplicate it out. Yay, very exciting. Alright, so with 8 minutes left, let's make a little build here. Actually, we're going to do one more thing. Before the build, we're going to come into sounds. No, I put it in.
Come on!
This sample. I fucking love this sample. It is Kanye screaming at the end of the song, yikes. And it goes well with everything. Alright, so we're also going to use this.
E.
Actually, no. We'll use the E sample.
E.
Alright, so this is going to be the stupidest pre-drop of all time. But we're going to take this laser sound effect. Most people use normal gunshots. I use Falco's gun from Melee. Why? Because I can. Alright, so kicks here. We're going to go into this, insert a MIDI, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the easiest way to do this. You take that and you divide it in half, and you duplicate it again. Boom. Boom, boom. Boom, 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 boom. This is my easy way of making builds. Now we're just gonna go over to this kick. Go to our samples. Go back to Virtual Riot. And drag in. Drag in something not too up.
E.
Alright, so now we just need to go into here, go to our build section, and what are we looking at on time? Less than 5. So I'm going to keep this real basic, go to my sounds, go to my this thing.
E.
Alright, so if you think that's cheating, fuck you, I don't care. Why? Because I use it.
E.
So a lot of these risers I wind up using in a lot of my tracks. Again, if you think they're cheating, I don't really care at this point. But yeah, a lot of these are things that I've made that I put into
E.
Alright, so this one I like because I can throw it in basically anything and it always sounds fine. The only thing is it likes to not be in complex when I load it in, which makes it sound really weird and choppy. As far as if you know anything about Ableton warp modes, you really want this on.
E.
For the build.
E. E.
Alright, so since I have like a minute,
E.
take like a default massive here or something done.
E.
Alright, so
E.
alright, now we have just enough time to throw a limiter on here. Alright.
E.
Alright.
E.
So these are just to protect my computer when I bounce this out. None of this is actually sound effect. Alright, well, that was it. The sound's as good as fucking half of what's on SoundCloud, so I'm probably not the best at narrating this. I was kind of concentrating because every single sound in here that's a synth was made from scratch aside from stupid samples that I already had. So I'm just gonna bounce this out and put it on SoundCloud, and hopefully the little bit of time I did spend talking was semi-informative about how I did sound design on some of these things. But a lot of it's FM, a lot of it's trial and error, and a lot of it's just basic mixing principles, things like making sure your levels are at a consistent place when you're sending them into your mixing channels. With a little bit of more time, some of these things would be a little more evenly mixed down, but I think it came out alright given the time constraint. So, alright, well, Riddim Track in 1 hour. If you don't think this sounds good, it's definitely better than half of what I've heard on SoundCloud. So, you know what? I'm fucking done. Hopefully I never have to make Riddim again. Because it's Riddim. And, like, look at it. Look at it. This is what it is. You just do this and then you're done. It's kind of silly. Like, this did not take a huge amount of effort, and the sound design on it, once you know like the 1 or 2 tricks as far as like the little delay trick, running FM from B and using filters to make things weird, there's nothing particularly earth-shattering about it. So yeah, that's it. This has been Orenda. If you like Riddim, I'm sorry for me just like shitting on the entire genre the entire fucking time I've been making this. But yeah. So that is a Riddim Track in 1 hour. I hope you were mildly entertained. Alright. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, or don't, because I don't care. Actually, I do care, I just don't know what channel this is going to be posted on. But if it's sample text, you should totally subscribe to them. That's me and the homies. So, alright, Riddim in 1 hour. That was it. Thank you.